Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2. Mic check. Microphone check. 1, 2. 1, 2. And I'm back. And I'm here to provide some commentary on a situation involving a chess player. And I suspect the top chess players don't know how to handle the situation, don't really have the emotional tools or the social intelligence, EQ over IQ. And I just want to say that the concept of suicide is obviously a delicate one, but has hit home personal to me within the last year, where someone very close to me has decided to leave our life here. And so when I initially heard about Daniel, I purposely ignored all the coverage and the commentary because it was just too much for me. I just didn't want to go down that road. It was too emotional. I don't know how else to describe it, okay? But a couple months have passed, and so I watched a video about it. The first video I watched was by Gotham Chess, and it was authentic. Just quitting a bunch of stuff here. Should have did before I started the stream. Okay, it was authentic, but there was a tone of hopelessness, right? Which is understandable, because it's a situation that is hard to grasp. It's very complicated. It involves real life, but also the internet. And as we know, the intersection of humans trying to, transition back and forth from real life and internet, which is not real life, is troubling, to say the least. And so, yeah, Daniel was cyberbullied, and it seems that nobody will use that term, or at least I haven't heard the term. Videos that I've watched, it's like people are talking around it. They just don't want to say what it was. Again, I've only watched 2 videos, one by Gotham Chess and one here by Hikaru. And yeah, now, like I said, these are chess prodigies. I'm going to speak in generalizations here and say that generally the top chess players, grandmasters, have been studying the board since they were very little, so they have not had a chance to develop the social skills that your average person might stumble upon. So again, I just want to frame what I'm about to critique and comment on by saying that I understand why this mindset is being what's the word I'm looking for here? It's being projected, and kind of like the hive mind here, the group mind of top chess players are kind of all at least out loud saying the similar things. I don't know what they're saying behind closed doors, but to me, that's not important. You're a public figure. You make money by playing a board game, and the only reason you make money is that because other people love the entertainment value of watching you play this board game, right? Anyway, there might be a little too much respect put on the chess community based on their skills at a board game. We don't hold people that are good at Monopoly or Risk in such high esteem, and those are just board games. They're no better or worse than chess. Anyway, let me stop with the intro here because it's way longer than I wanted it to be. Let me let Hikaru make my point for me here. Of course, I'm going to interrupt him. Let's get it on here.
When David Navarro actually
because I feel obligated to translate from chess speak and this corporate attitude that's being administered down through the influencers. So I got to translate for you guys. Okay.
Actually did, I believe, file a complaint with FIDE, or he did something where he was complaining. He complained, he filed something, I think, about it. He basically got laughed out of the room. If those sponsors don't see any problem with what's going on, nothing's going to change because they're going to keep giving the money to FIDE, and that's that. So, like, as much as I hate to say it, I don't think anything's going to change, and it makes me very, very angry.
You don't seem that angry, but although that's just me, you know, judging you on your appearances, so that's, that's not valuable. But the tone of hopelessness that you don't think anything could be done when you are yourself like the top 5 or top 10, let's just be safe here and conservative, top 10 most influential chess players on the planet Earth, right? You could probably even say top 5, but let's just be safe, right? Hikaru, you are the top 10 most influential, thanks to the internet, because without the internet, no one knows who you are, chess players on the planet, right? That power, now, bestowed upon you by corporations, as you insinuate here, that power, you can use it. You can use it to stand up for something that you believe is being wrong and is allowed to continue. You could, but in this video, he says he can't, and he over and over in a lot of different ways that it's not possible. And I think it's kind of ironic that someone could look on a chessboard and see almost near infinite possibilities. But then in real life, not. Where is chat? But in real life, it's constricted. Can't possibly imagine another scenario. And that is, again, dripping with the irony. Let's let him keep going here.
To say that, but I don't think anything's going to change. FIDE confirms ethics investigation into Kramnik following the death of Naroditsky. The International Chess Federation, FIDE, confirmed on Tuesday that they have formally filed a complaint against GM Vladimir Kramnik, the 14th world champion, referring him to the Ethics and Disciplinary Commission, the EDC, for investigation into the alleged harassment and bullying of Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky.
Cyberbullying. I don't think he did it in person. It's a key term there. I don't know why the college graduate who wrote this article didn't use that term.
Naroditsky, the popular grandmaster, commentator, creator, and educator, unexpectedly passed away on October 19th at the early age of 29, and his death sparked a massive wave of tributes from fans and players in the chess world. Time for serious stuff. Yeah, so someone asked a question. They asked me, like, why am I covering this again? One of the things that's important is, we do have a big audience. And I've had this conversation with Levy quite a few times. I think a lot of you guys who are watching this stream would be surprised to know that many people, they get their sole information, their sole outlet of news for chess directly does come from watching videos of like Levy's or mine. They do not go anywhere else on the internet to get chess news.
This part is a little disturbing that you would even, I don't know, acknowledge that there are people that view you as some sort of cult figure and you're the only source that you and Levy that people, that's a little creepy.
Or consume it in any kind of way, shape, or form.
And the tone of, he's very proud of this too. He might be trying to hide it, but he's proud that he's so influential that people will only go to him, for news. Him and Levy. Those people are so, I don't know how you would describe that. I mean, it's obviously a form of being closed-minded, where you only go to two different people for information. But it's just an in disguise way of glazing or fanboying, fangirling, whatever you want to call it, their favorite chess player. Oh, he's your favorite, so you only go to him. But you only go to him because he's your favorite. It's not that, he has some skill or he's the best chess reporter on the planet. No, he's just your favorite. So, what he's describing here is that he's aware that he has a bunch of fans that are so in love with him that they will not take news from any other sources. And I don't know, man. I don't know if that's like something to be proud of.
So even though I don't necessarily want to cover this, it's still important to keep people informed about what's going on. So that's my answer for someone who asked a question. It's a very valid question to ask, because frankly, I don't really like covering this stuff. I really don't.
I am a chess prodigy. I don't want to think about social issues because they're fucking hard. It's hard. Like, that part of their brain, I don't think has been exercised as much as the part where, spatial patterns are stored away.
In a press release on Tuesday, FIDE named Kramnik as a respondent in the complaint, citing a pattern of conduct involving repeated public accusations against Naroditsky and Czech GM David Navarra. The latter wrote a deeply personal blog describing suicidal thoughts.
And yeah, I forgot about the nationalist part here. Kramnik is a Russian, and he chose a Czech target. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think, like, if one of his comrades was blatantly cheating, something tells me Kramnik wouldn't be, waving a flag about it. Because he's just some old oligarch fucking dumbass. And as Einstein said, nationalism is an infantile disease. It is the measles of mankind.
Thoughts in the aftermath of a tweet where Kramnik named him. Now, I also want to add one other point, because this is going to be on YouTube at some point. Originally, when I made those videos about Dan, initially I forgot that the monetization was turned on for those videos. So
this is the part that made me make this video, because this is a fat lie. I'm going to let him repeat it. I'm going to go back a little, let him repeat this lie about how when he made the videos about his friend committing suicide and put them on YouTube, that he forgot to take the monetization off. Bro, you're a professional YouTuber. You have a management team. That is a lie. And only your sycophantic fans, sycophantic, is that the right word? Yeah, are gonna believe this lie. Okay, you're a professional. Millions of views. You don't forget. Okay? Stop. And then he hangs himself even more. Watch.
David Navarra. The latter wrote a deeply personal blog describing suicidal thoughts in the aftermath of a tweet where Kramnik named him. Now, I also want to add one other point, because this is going to be on YouTube at some point. Originally, when I made those videos about Dan, initially I forgot that the monetization was turned.
Look at him, like he can't even look at the camera, dude. He's so ashamed of saying this.
Turned on for those videos, so I am going to be making a donation fairly soon. But
you could have made it already. Like, this is so, oh, dude, bro. And you could have deleted the videos, re-uploaded them without monetization, but yet they're still sitting there.
The point that I want to make, and I said this on Tuesday during my Title Tuesday stream as well, there is going to be some kind of memorial. I don't know if it's a fund or what it's going to be for Daniel Naroditsky, which will go towards hosting a tournament and supporting some junior players in the future. So once all that is formed and I have actual information on what that is, I am going to be donating all the money that I made from those 2 videos to that fund. Some people complained about those videos and having too many ads and other stuff, so I had to chop down the ads and everything else. But in spite of having to chop down the ads on that video, I can tell you guys that those 2 videos generated more than $5,000, which I will be donating to this memorial fund and whatever once it's actually set up in honor of Daniel Naroditsky. So I did want to point that out while we cover this video on this article. So,
wow. So he went in and chopped down the ads on the video that is still monetized. Okay. Again, he could have deleted the video, but of course his management team is not letting that happen, just like they did not let him demonetize in the first place, so he had to quote unquote forget. Okay? Come on, bro. I mean, like a real adult who has walked around planet Earth is not going to believe this shit. uh
Let's keep going.
Although I suspect the average age of his fan is 12 years old.
FIDE wrote, the complaint outlines a pattern of conduct over roughly 2 years and cites several public statements and materials that FIDE considers relevant to potential violations related to harassment and an insulting of an individual's dignity. OMG from 2 videos, it's like more than 1 million? No, I'm talking about the 2 videos. 2 videos. Oh, you're saying it's more than 1 million views? I would tell you guys in general, like there were people complaining about ads, so I did not have my standard ad placement in those videos either. For anyone who's wondering, if you're like, oh, it got more than 1 million views, why is it not making a ton of money? I cut the ads down in those videos for anyone who's wondering. There were people complaining and they're saying, oh, you're making money, you're monetizing, and it's just like, you know.
Yeah. Do you see how dismissive he is of those people complaining that you're making money off of your friend unaliving himself? And by the way, you could just cut the check to his fund without having to use YouTube, people viewing his commentary about the whole controversy, as that is the way to fund the. It's just disgusting. It's disgusting. Be a nice guy and just cut the check. Don't monetize the videos. It's just and claim you forgot, because there's so much deception here. That's what turns me off. That's what makes me not believe a single word coming out of your mouth. Okay? Real talk here. Off the chessboard. EQ over IQ.
No, it is what it is. So in case you're wondering, like that's why. I don't know if that's what you mean by more than 1 million. You might mean something else entirely. But all right, let's keep going. Okay.
Yeah, so someone pushes back and goes, dude, how many views those videos got? You only made $5,000? And he's like, well, I cut the ads down. Show me the real data. Because other than that, like, that's like Lee Chess trying to tell me they don't make profits, and then they show me a Google Doc. Again, a 12-year-old might buy that. But me, an adult who's been in the real world, run a business, right? It's like, come on, man. It's not real. It's not real at all.
FIDE's statement does not specify what the complaint is, though FIDE President Arkady Dvorkovich confirmed on October 22nd that the Federation Management's board would formally refer all of Kramnik's public statements to the EDC for independent consideration. Kramnik, the former world champion and one of the greatest players to ever compete in the game, has become an increasingly polarizing figure in the chess world since launching his campaign against what he believes is a cheating epidemic in chess. While he insists he has never directly accused anyone of cheating, saying he is merely asking questions, the chess community has widely interpreted some of his posts and videos as an accusation of foul play. At the end of 2023, Chess.com muted Kramnik's account following repeated accusations against other players. He was later suspended from prize events and is now permanently banned following what Chess.com called repeated and egregious violations of the company's community policy. Since Naroditsky's passing, several prominent players have also criticized Kramnik's actions. GM Magnus Carlsen recently described his former colleague's treatment of Naroditsky as horrible, while GM Levon Aroni suggested he gets professional help. GMs Hikaru Nakamura and Nihal Sarin have also described Kramnik's conduct as harassment. Now, one thing that's important to note also, and one thing that's kind of interesting about this to me is that, a lot of the stuff when it began, I think people conveniently seem to forget that Kramnik actually went after me very, very hard as well. Like initially, he started talking about all these streaks that I had, how suspicious there were. He made many, many videos on me. He made many videos. He made many tweets. He even recently made a tweet when I recently set my all-time high at 3430. So it is kind of interesting to me that, like, when it comes to me or it comes to, like, Neil or some of these other players, like, it gets forgotten. Even Jospim, another example of somebody, Jose Martinez Alcantara, another player who he went after really, really hard, who's
So my question is, did Hikaru file a complaint with Fidi when he was getting harassed? I wish I knew that. Seems like he didn't. But anyway, because it seems like, I'm just saying, if he had filed some sort of official complaint before, it could have been, they could have, maybe, I don't know.
Ignored in all of this. And I think, in a way, like it's not, of course, it's not about me or anything like that, but I do think it's
No,
kind of sad
not about you.
that it only talks about two players specifically. I do find that kind of sad in a.
You're still alive, bro. And did you file a complaint? Because if not, then what are we talking about?
Certain sense, because it was much more than that. It was much more than that. Naroditsky publicly denied the accusations, and during his final Twitch stream before his passing, spoke candidly about the mental toll of Kramnik's campaign. The problem is, ever since the Kramnik stuff, I feel like if I start doing well, people will assume the worst of intentions, he said, adding, the issue is just the lingering effect of it. Yes. And it's a situation where you can't win. At the end of the day, you cannot win in such situations. It's like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Play well in every tournament. There's going to be this or that or the other thing. You can always try and say something negative about what someone's doing. If Daniel goes off stream and does very well, you can make an insinuation. If Daniel doesn't do well on stream, you can also make an insinuation. He always does well. You can make the other insinuation. Like it's a no-win situation any way you look at it. And it's very it's very, very sad and disappointing.
The question I keep asking myself is why, if this guy's accusations are baseless, and I'm gonna just assume that they are, right? Why does anyone give a shit? And then I answer my question by saying, well, Don, chess prodigies don't have the social intelligence to just go, you know what? It's some dumbass grandmaster from Russia who doesn't like that I'm Czechoslovakian, and he's making up some shit to, cause my life to be miserable. He doesn't have that view. All he has is chess. His world is chess. And when this Gargamel, okay, which is what Kramnik reminds me of, when Gargamel comes along, the evil guy from the Smurfs, if you're not aware, when he comes along and starts pointing his fucking craggy little finger in his dark smeared cloak, why do you even bother? Who gives a shit, right? Who cares? But again, a lot of these chess players have been forced to study a board from the time they're a little kid, have not developed the skill to be able to step back from the board and see a bigger picture. And again, there's the irony. You can see the near limitless possibilities inside 64 squares. More possible chess games than atoms in the universe, right? I'm trying to remember the name of the number, the Carter number, I can't remember, some guy. But we can't step back from the board in real life and see the possibilities. And Hikaru here is going to prove that for me again, because when he speaks in this hopeless way that there's nothing that we can do to, band together and boycott Fidi, it's like, yeah, you could if you just, put your mind there, bro. All right.
It's because you dealt with it. Yeah, I mean, some people dealt with it better than others. But as I've said myself, like when all that stuff first started and I started getting attacked, I played very badly in the chess.com chess.com Champions Tour or Champions Tour final, whatever it was called, in 2023, I think it was, or maybe it was 22. I played very, very badly in that tournament. I played way below my regular level in that tournament. I think I got 5th place when all was said and done, which I think was a small miracle because I was in Toronto, and I think I lost many Armageddons like Maxime to Jose, or not Jose, to a Noterbeck, many Armageddons, and I played terribly in that event. So even when people talk about me, it had a very big effect on me too. It had a big effect. It's just that I was able to get past it and move beyond it.
So trash talk. What he's saying is that someone accusing him of cheating, even though it was untrue. We're gonna assume it was an untrue accusation. It stuck in his brain and affected his play. So again, demonstrating that like these people don't know anything outside of chess. Because if you are not cheating, and some random dude, I don't care who you are, grandmaster or some guy I've never heard of, it doesn't matter. I know I'm not cheating. So if I know I'm not cheating, I don't give a fuck what you say. Why would it affect me at all? Unless, I don't know, right?
Because I knew that the whole thing was complete crap. So let's keep going. Narratives, or the issue is just the lingering effect of it. Yeah. Following Naroditsky's death, Kramnik continued to post about the American GM, suggesting the real truth behind the tragedy was hidden. Public outrage has also continued to grow beyond social media. A Change.org petition, which has now gathered more than 52,000 signatures, calls on FIDE to impose sanctions on both Kramnik and FIDE CEO.
Did you sign that, Hikaru? I know you didn't say if you signed this or not.
GM Emil Satovsky.
Did you sign it?
The petition alleges that both made statements that were insensitive, speculative, and damaging in the wake of Naroditsky's passing, and calls on FIDE to revoke Kramnik's titles and demand Satovsky's resignation.
Did you sign it?
Not Common Hikaru W. You said, "Is this an old stream?" No, we are live right now. Okay. The case will now be handled by FIDE's Ethics and Disciplinary Commission, the independent the EWC.
I'm laughing at the ethics committee. It's the same people who require that women be escorted to the board when they play in Saudi Arabia. Ethics committee. In more oxymoron.
The EDC can impose a range of sanctions, including warnings, fines, suspensions, and in severe cases, the revocation of titles or lifetime bans from FIDE events and positions. Persaud explained the process in a public statement. Once a complaint is filed, the EDC chair reviews it to determine if it's admissible. If accepted, the chair identifies the charges and forwards the case to a first instance chamber, which will then notify both parties of the registration. The respondent is informed of the initiation of disciplinary proceedings and has up to 3 weeks to submit a response and any supporting documents if additional information is required. A second exchange of statements may take place with each party given up to 2 weeks to reply. After reviewing all materials, the panel will deliberate privately and issue its decision. So yes, there's going to be this decision. Someone asked a question. I said, why did FIDE sit on their hands until someone died? There are a couple of things that are really important. I said this in my last video too, but I think this is an important point, and which this applies to everything in life, is perception. Perception is really, really important, and not everybody has this.
This is where Hikaru is obviously confused, and he's going to tell you how confused he is.
Same perception about a variety of different topics. So, for example, I can tell you that, if you're not in the online space, and this applies to, quite a few players who are very strong. If you're not in the online space, you're not paying attention to Twitter, it doesn't affect you in any way directly, it's very easy to not even notice this stuff. Like Peter Leko is a GM from Hungary who's playing the World Cup. And Peter, I think, even said something like he doesn't read stuff online, so he was unaware of how serious it was. So if you're not living on the internet, you're not in the space of online content creation, or like you're living, or the interactions you have aren't related to it.
So Hikaru, the question was why FIDE didn't do anything until Danya died. Why FIDE let Kramnik cyberbully him, and you're just talking about perception, and I'm confused.
It's very easy to not be aware of what's going on. Now,
so you're saying FIDE was not aware because they're not on the internet? That's what you just said, bro. So again, I show you, he's very confused. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He really doesn't. It's a simple question. Why do you think FIDE sat on their hands and didn't do anything? Well, so he's going to tell you about the perception. So what he's trying to say is that, well, they didn't know. Really? Fanboy?
Now that, of course, is being, I think, a little bit generous, but I think it's still important to know.
A little bit generous, bro. You're a corporate shill, okay? And that's me being a little bit generous.
Perception that for a lot of people, the notion is like, whatever, you just laugh it off because you know it's complete nonsense. You just laugh at it and you think it's not serious and it has no actual impact. So it's very easy to think that way. And I think that a lot of people actually did think that way. I think it's just like, well, you know, you just laugh it off. It's not a big deal. Who cares? You know, he's completely crazy, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, that's not how it works if you're in this online space. So that's like if I'm being generous about it. I mean, I also would say, frankly, I think that, you know,
dude, you're not being generous. You're being a shill, okay? Like, it's like he's acknowledging that, like, he's not telling the truth. But instead of saying that, he's saying that he's being generous. Well, obviously you're getting paid, so, you know, you're not going to bite the hand that feeds you. There's so much deception in this video. That's why I'm here.
It's an online thing, and
I can't get 45 seconds before stopping it and having to expose another lie. It's crazy, right? Like everything's a lie.
The thing is that there are people who think that online cheating is a very big issue, or they think that it's happening all the time. I think people
it is.
Know very clearly where I stand on this issue, obviously, but there are people who do.
Where do you stand?
Believe that there are people who do think that parts of those statements and what was going on are actually true, which doesn't help either. So there are many different aspects to it in terms of what's going on. I also think, however, though, one thing that's really bad about this whole issue is that when David Navarro actually did, I believe, file a complaint with FIDE, or he did something where he was complaining, he complained, he filed something, I think, about it. He basically got laughed out of the room, for lack of a better way of putting it, by FIDE. So that's actually, you know, that is the one big blemish on the whole. The blemish is even like being too nice, but that is the one big problem with.
It's funny, what? He's so corporate that his default is being too nice. He will not call something what it is. You can't have truth and be sponsored. I mean, that's why I'll never be sponsored.
With it is that, like, FIDE had already been made aware of this. It had already been made aware of what was going on, and nothing happened. And I mean, honestly, like, you know, I think at the end of the day, the problem with all this is that I don't think anything's going to change. I really hate to say this. Like, it makes me.
This is the other reason why I made this video, because what he says here is blatantly false. But again, he's just protecting his own tax bracket. Okay? He doesn't want to have to actually get a job. All right? So I understand. Again, Hikaru, I understand. Right? But you need to understand that you can't pass this shit off against someone like me. Nah.
Me angry even saying this, but I really don't think anything's going to change. You know, at the end of the day, like, when it comes to FIDE, the fact of the matter is FIDE has two big sponsors who put.
The fact of the matter is, when anyone says that, you're about to get handed a line of bullshit. Okay? People who are speaking the truth don't have to use phrases like the fact of the matter is. Okay? Some fucking such a condescending bullshit.
Put a lot of money into a variety of tournaments, and if those sponsors don't see any problem with what's going on, nothing.
Then I'm not going to see any problem, because those sponsors are who pays me. You see how this works?
It's going to change because they're going to keep giving the money to FIDE, and that's that. So, like, as much as I hate to say it, I don't think anything's going to change.
I don't really think you hate to say it. How about that, buddy?
And it makes me very, very angry to say it.
Oh, your facial expression does not change, bro. Like, it's like you're reading off a script. Could you at least try to look angry a little bit? Or maybe your voice tone could change? Some sort of shred of personality? Something? Bueller?
Say that, but I don't think anything's going to change. I don't think anything's going to change, unfortunately. You know, if the two big sponsors of FIDE currently saw a problem with it, then something might change. But I don't think they do, and so I don't see anything changing. Can't you, Magnus, and others make a new chess work? That's not realistic, and I'll tell you why it's not realistic.
It is realistic. It's more realistic than any of the other sports the basketball players, oh, we got to start our own league. The NFL start our own league. There's too many of them, right? But like, how many top chess players are there? 500? I mean, how many of the 500 are against cyberbullying? That is the question.
The reason it's not realistic, the reason it's not realistic to expect change to happen, or for players to go along and do this, is because problem is nobody's ever going to agree across the board on things. No.
We're not asking for everybody to agree, but I'm pretty sure 99% of people are going to agree that cyberbullying a chess player and accusing him of cheating until he gets so depressed that he offs himself, that's wrong. And we should probably stand up to the organization who's allowing this man to do that. Okay, so it is possible. So like I said, again, with the irony here, he can see the infinite possibilities on the fucking 64 squares, but real life, nah, bro. My accountant says I can't make a statement like that.
No one's going to ever unanimously be able to agree as a whole.
That's saying nothing. No one unanimously agrees on anything. How is that a point? How is that some sort of point that you are standing on? So you have nothing to stand on. There's no defense to why the top chess players don't get together and go, you know what, FIDE? We're not playing in your events until something is done. And if one or two scabs cross the line and try to pick up a FIDE title, we'll laugh them off the internet. I mean, come on. This is simple math. Take a stand, but none of them will because they're afraid someone's going to get a victory and up their rating. Fucking children.
For example, if we look at top chess and how it works, let's just use the World Cup for example. I'm going to play a 3-0 later. If you use the Chess World Cup as an example in India, let's just say everybody's like fed up and we all decide not to play. The problem is someone is not going to hold the line. Someone's going to decide, you know what?
That's called a scab. When someone union goes on strike, someone crosses the picket line, they're called a scab, and we shame them off the planet. What? He's like saying, oh, we can't do it because of those one or two people. Come on, bro. That is the epitome of a lame excuse. Just say the real reason is you don't want to jeopardize your money, bro. That's it. Say it.
These guys aren't playing, but I have to play. I have to make a living. Not all chess players are in a financial situation where they can basically tell FIDE to get lost. So you're always going to have a situation where it's going to be fragmented. One player's going to think, well, if I don't...
Again, they're not starving. Okay, there's no chess player that's a FIDE tournament player who's having a hard time finding a meal. Okay? Please, bro.
Play, then this guy's going to play. There's too much of this sort of stuff. And it also comes back to what I said before about top chess players being a little bit psychotic. Like, that's how you look at the game. You look at it as like...
Yeah, so he's right there. He's saying, we're top chess players. We don't care about anything else but winning. We're a little, quote, psychotic. That's his word. We couldn't possibly unite for a social cause. We're chess players. So stop talking to me about demonetizing my video.
It's like a zero-sum situation. I win or someone else wins. That's how chess players look at things. And I don't...
Yeah, chess players can't see nuance. Think about it, man. That's the stereotype he's putting out there. Yeah, us chess players, we just can't. We all we think about is winning or losing. Although I'm making a video here about cyberbullying, so I'm attempting some sort of social commentary. But at the same time, I'm saying I really don't have the capacity to do anything real. But I can make a video, and guess what? It'll be monetized. I guarantee this video about a video is monetized. Ah! Moron.
I don't blame top players for thinking like that, by the way. I don't. Like, I understand it. You have to make a living. Chess is, it's not a situation like Like,
You're
let's
not
take the
starving,
NBA, for
bro.
example,
It's
to use
fucking
a
chess.
proper, like, real sport. You know, if like Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and, you know, a bunch of those guys are like, you know, we have a real problem with some rule, or some problem with the basketballs, or some issue. Like, I know it's more minor than this whole FIDE thing. You know, if they said something and they stood up as one, which they could do, it would lead to changes. And they could do it because they're all getting paid so much.
No, the reason they are a part, they have a players association, aka a union. Okay, so that's, you know, one of the benefits of a union is that you get representation. There's no union in the chess players. You're all independent contractors going against each other, trying to make the money. So again, I understand why there's this cutthroat ruthlessness about it, but someone is dead. You all are saying you were friends with him, but you won't do any. You won't stand up to this organization because, you know, chess players need money, because that's what he's saying. You play a board game for a living. Something tells me you ain't starving. Something tells me your family got your back.
Much money that they're not risking anything. But top chess players are risking something, because most top chess players don't make a lot of money. Most chess players don't make money. They're right now, I would say there are two chess players.
Okay, but they chose to play chess. Teachers don't make a lot of money either. Nobody's putting a gun to your head and saying you must be a teacher. No one's forcing you to be a chess player. So forgive me if I am not fucking, you know, sympathetic for the low income of chess players. You're playing a board game. You're not, you know, digging coal. You're not an air traffic controller. Okay? You have a very specific skill. And, you know, just so happens our world doesn't pay a lot of money for that skill. Because, I don't know, you play a board game. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's not just driving commerce. I don't understand why, you know. But yeah, no one's forcing you to, you know, pursue chess as your occupation. So, you know, if you got to eat ramen for dinner, I don't give a shit. I don't.
There are two chess players who you can classify as semi-professionals. Maybe Fabiano also, but there basically are two or three chess players who are making seven figures a year, who are making $1 million pre-tax. Only three chess players are making that much money to where they can do it. But when you look at the dynamics and you look at the World Cup, for example, which has a first prize of, I don't know, let's say $150,000. Like, most chess players, if they're lucky, they'll make $300,000-$400,000 a year if they're lucky.
If they're lucky, that's a really good $300,000 or $400,000. Do you see how elitist this guy is, and that he doesn't view that as a lot of money? I wonder how much he makes. He makes a lot. The way he's speaking about $300,000 right here, as if it's nothing, as they're lucky to make it. Oh my god! Hold
that
on.
much money to where they can do it. But when you look at the dynamics and you look at the World Cup, for example, which has a first prize of, I don't know, let's say $150,000. Like, most chess players, if they're lucky, they'll make $300,000-$400,000 a year if they're lucky. Make no mistake, that's a lot of money. That you can't not play a tournament. Like, that's huge money as a percentage of what you can try to make in a year in general. Like, you can't just
They can't get a donation from some rich whale to fund a tournament in the name of Daniel, where we say fuck FIDE, we're going to play in this tournament across the street from the FIDE tournament. Come on. Again, a little bit of networking. You have the internet. You can't tell me you don't have a whale on your side. Oh, by the way, you are one. Hikaru could himself put up a prize pool. Here's $1 million. Let's play for it. Fuck FIDE. He could do that. Gotham Chess could put in 500 grand each and make the million. Or you could get 5 people, put it in 200,000. Why do I have to do the fucking thinking here? I mean, this is not rocket science, bro. But it takes more time. This is like my father used to say to me, because, you know, I've had the gift of gab for a long time. My dad would say that I do more work to get out of work than it would be if I would just do the work. And that's what's happening here. Hikaru is doing more mental gymnastics to explain why he can't do anything than if he just fucking did something.
You can't turn that down. So that's why, I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm very skeptical that anything really is going to change.
Because you don't want to fucking go into your pocket, bro.
I don't think anything's really going to change. And it makes me boiling mad. But like,
oh my god,
it's going to change.
Oh my God, dude. I can't stand here and have you misuse the English language like that. Have you ever heard someone say they were boiling mad in such a calm manner? Ah!
So that's my takeaway. I mean, I'm ending this on a little bit of a depressing note, but we'll see what happens with the investigation. Maybe something will happen. Maybe it won't.
Oh, you sound hopeful.
But it's definitely it's definitely it's something to do. It's something
It's
something
something
PhD is
to
doing. We'll
do!
see what the eventual outcome is of it. But unfortunately, I'm actually not particularly optimistic that anything's going to change. I'm not. I'm really not optimistic about that. So that's that. That's the article.
Wow.
So let's keep going.
Wow, dude. Wow. All right. I'll be back.